What is up, guys? CT Kidney here, and today we're going to be looking at some 10.1 Devastation changes. Let's first go over the developer's note. So we're thrilled with the reception of Devastation Evoker and the excitement that players have expressed over the playstyle. I would have to agree, the playstyle is definitely really fun. I really enjoy the complexity of changing the rotation inside of Dragon Rage to make sure you get the maximum out of it. I really enjoy a lot of things about the Evoker right now. If I had to say there's anything I don't like about it right now, it would be the threat issues that we get on like front-loaded damage on Mythic Plus, and also the lack of a good defensive. We have like shield wall basically, but like it's not very good. In Embers of Neltharion, we're making targeted adjustments to a few key talents to address a nuance of Dragon Rage's extension loop, where it can be optimal to aggressively cancel and recast Disintegrate back to back. I don't like this. I don't know why they're trying to get rid of this, because this is just a form of skill expression within the game. If you can eke out an extra 6 seconds of Dragon Rage because you're playing your class well, I don't know why you would ever want to get rid of that. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know who asked for this, who was like, yeah, Dragon Rage is too hard. Like, I can't possibly get that last 6 seconds because it's too difficult. It's like I've got a guide on it. I know other people have guides on it. It's not that difficult. You can look it up. Like, it's not hard. In order to maximize the effects of Feed the Flame and Causality, this specific behavior is fairly unintuitive. I would definitely have to disagree. I think it being unintuitive would be if you didn't have to interrupt. You have to think about interrupting your cast early or interrupting your channel early at the last tick in order to get another stack of Essence Burst so you can reduce the cooldown of your spells and get that extra Dragon Rage window. This is not like I think it's definitely intuitive as it is. Like, you have to think about it or you lose that last 6 seconds. It's pretty cut and dry, honestly. And the below changes are intended to make fully channeling Disintegrate more rewarding. Okay, so what they're saying is the below changes are attempting to make it so that fully channeling Disintegrate are more rewarding. But why? It's a channel spell. You're just sitting there for 3 seconds casting it. So you want me to press my Disintegrate and then just sit there and wait 3 seconds? Okay. Sure. I don't agree with this change at all. Additionally, we're looking to add more options for area of effect gameplay with the new talent Raging Inferno. I'll get to that later. And a redesigned Imminent Destruction. Like I said in my last video, you know, Imminent Destruction definitely needed a rework, so I'm glad they actually looked at that and saw that it was an issue. First up, Feed the Flames. Pyre reduces the remaining cooldown of Fire Breath and Eternity Surge by 1 second or 2 seconds if it was affected by Essence Burst. So they basically just combined Feed the Flames and the old Causality and like made them only for AoE when you use Pyre. Personally, I mean, I guess this is on its own, this change I guess is fine. Like, now we have a AoE capstone, right, that we kind of didn't have before, but we really did, because Feed the Flames was still a really good AoE capstone. It just now is a slightly better AoE capstone, I think. Like, I mean, I also don't like it because it's gonna put Fire Breath and Eternity Surge on the same cooldown. Like, you're just gonna press them back to back every however many seconds it takes to get them off cooldown, and that's just not fun. I liked having my Fire Breath and my Eternity Surge on different cooldowns, because that way with the 2 set or even with the 4 set, you know, that we have currently, and I know we won't have those coming into 10.1, we'll have different 2 sets and 4 sets, but currently it's like, yeah, you kind of want to spread those out a little bit if you're not in Dragon Rage so that you can get the maximum benefit from them. And this kind of goes against that. Like I said, I know we're not going to have the 2 and 4 set for the next patch. We'll have a different one, but like this doesn't make much sense to me. Next up is Causality. While channeling Disintegrate, Fire Breath, and Eternity Surge cooldown 100% faster. This is not a good change. This is not a good change in the slightest. One, like I said before, it removes any necessity to clip disintegrate, which was a huge form of skill expression in our kit for Dragon Rage window. Like, I don't understand why they would do this. It makes the spec a little bit dumber. Pretty important one is it makes haste not good. Like, because the more haste we have, the shorter our channels are for disintegrate. And we even have a talent in our basic evoker tree that makes disintegrate channel 20% faster, which means that's just like you're losing 20% cooldown reduction on your empower spells just because you take that talent. So like, it's counterintuitive with haste, and it's also counterintuitive with our other talents. Like, you don't, what? That just doesn't make any sense to me. I think the old way, or not the old way, the way we currently have on live is much better. I don't see anyone complaining about it, and if they are, they just need to get good, honestly. Dragon Rage duration is increased from 14 seconds to 18 seconds. No, it's not. Because this is a placebo buff. And if you're reading this and you're like, what do you mean it's a placebo? Like, that's a good thing, right? That helps a lot. No, it's useless. It's a placebo buff. It doesn't actually do anything. Animosity duration extension decreased to 4 from 6 seconds. So I don't know who was complaining about longer Dragon Rages, but honestly, this doesn't make any sense to me. Like, a lot of these changes don't make any sense to me. So the reason I say that Dragon Rage duration, this is a placebo buff, is because it is. So if you look at the current live duration that we can get on Dragon Rage, at minimum, you're going to get 38 seconds, right? At maximum, you're going to get 44 seconds if you can do it like really well, okay? This makes it so that you get 34 seconds always, all the time. So it says that, oh, the duration's been increased by 4 seconds, but the duration's actually just been cut by 4 to 10 seconds. So that's why this buff doesn't actually do anything, because it increased the baseline duration, but because we're going to take animosity, it now doesn't, it reduces the overall duration. So it's really just dumb. It's just useless. Engulfing Blaze cast time for Living Flame reduced. I mean, sure, I guess, like, this isn't horrible. It wasn't very fun standing still for like 2.5 seconds casting a living flame when you didn't have a burnout proc, but like, I mean, this also does really devalue burnout a little bit, because now burnout giving you instant living flame procs is not going to do as much damage. But then again, burnout leads to Feed the Flames, which is now purely an AoE talent, which again doesn't make sense because Living Flame is a single target ability that leads to now a purely AoE ability, or a purely AoE talent. I don't. Yeah, I'm just kind of confused with these single target changes. However, it's not all bad. So let's get into the AoE changes. Imminent Destruction, the rework that I said it needed in my last video. Deep Breath causes your Empower spells to reach maximum in 20 to 40% less time, and enemies struck by it take 10 to 20% more damage from your Empower spells for 15 seconds. Such a good change. Such a good change. I love Deep Breath. I love that Deep Breath is actually getting some help and getting a little bit of synergy with our other with the other tools in our kit. I think that's fantastic. I don't like, however, that this basically causes you to deep breath immediately. Like, you have to really front load your deep breath, which isn't really that great because we want to save deep breath for when our enemies are low and use our abilities that don't always get maximum benefit from mastery first. So that's kind of weird, but I mean, it's a good buff to deep breath, and I'm glad to see it. I'll definitely run it. I mean, I've played with it on the PTR, and I think it's really good. Also, we might even take it in single target, which would be kind of cool, I guess, using Deep Breath in single target, because now our single target damage is going to be really just not good. just not good at all. So yeah, it would buff Fire Breath by 20%. It would buff Eternity Surge by 20%. If you time that with like a Shatter Star, who knows? I mean, you know, could do some decent burst damage. So yeah, let's go on to Raging Inferno. Raging Inferno, Firestorm's radius is increased by 50%, and Pyro deals 25% more damage. I think this is just what Firestorm needed, man. I think Firestorm is cool. Again, it had a lot of the same issues that Death and Decay had. Like I said in my last video, its radius was just so low that if something takes one step, it's out of it. But now the radius is increased, and also it has some synergy with Pyre, making it more useful for AoE than just its base damage, because its base damage, although was okay, it's not great. And this is going to make Pyre do 25% more damage. If you pair this with Charged Blast, it's just going to absolutely truck something. And Raging Inferno is located on the talent tree as a choice node with Snapfire. I think that you will always take this over Snapfire. There's no reason to take Snapfire. There never was a reason to take Snapfire in the first place, but now we just have a talent that's way better in that node. So overall, I think the single target changes are just bad. They're just actually horrible. Along with the fact that we're losing Carnilex next patch, our single target is going to take a massive hit, like an absolutely giant hit. We're going to lose pretty much all of our skill expression on single target, and pretty much an AoE too. And I'm just so confused as to why. Like, I thought we were fine. I would have gladly played Evoker just as it is for a whole other patch, probably throughout the whole expansion, honestly. Maybe with like a little bit of tweaks and changes here, but like nothing this major. I don't understand why they're just making the spec dumbed down, I guess. Like, it's already not super difficult to play, but now they're just making it like a monkey could do this. Other than that, I mean, the AoE changes look promising, I can say that. But the only issue, again, is that we are already so front-loaded on our damage that this is just gonna make us like the kings of burst AoE, which is fine, right? Which is totally okay, except for the issue that we have no threat reduction at all. We don't have a Feign Death, we don't have a Vanish, we don't have Fade, we don't have any kind of threat reduction in our kit, meaning that we're just gonna pull threat and die. Like, we want to attack things as soon as possible to benefit from our mastery, but if we attack things as soon as possible, we pull aggro and die. It's just gonna be that simple. Like, it's already an issue. It's already an issue now. Like, I pull threat a lot in Mythic Plus, and sometimes even in heavy, like on Council, there are times where I pull threat. Like on Dathia, there are times where I pull threat. On Razageth, there are times where I pull threat with that. Like, it's bad. It's really an issue. On Broodmother, like, and I don't understand. Like, we either need some form of threat reduction, or we need these changes to be toned down a bit. And I guess kind of the whole theme of this video really has been they're trying to fix things that aren't really broken. Like, I don't know who doesn't like longer Dragon Rages. Why would you not want a longer Dragon Rage if you play it well? It removes literally most of the skill expression that we have in our kit, and it really dumbs down the spec, which is something that's never fun. Like, making a spec easier to play when it's already not difficult is just not fun. And on top of that, I never want to pick up more of a stat and have less fun playing the game. And none of that is more true than with haste. Like, the more haste you have, the more fun you pretty much have playing the game, because you get to press more buttons, you get to press buttons faster. And haste is now going to hurt us, because we'll have shorter disintegrate channels, which means we'll have less cooldown for our empowered spells with causality, and that just doesn't make any sense. I think the way it is fine is the way it is now is totally fine. I don't find any issues with it. But anyway, you know, these are the changes right here. And if anything I can say is that, I mean, it is going to be in 10.1. Like, these changes aren't coming in 0.7 next week. And I mean, I guess that's the real only saving grace that we have because there's still a lot of time to change these, and I really do hope they change these, because man, this is like, or like give us some compensation for our loss of single target burst. Make it so our single target sustain damage is up a little bit, because like losing 23% of Dragon Rage is just gonna suck, and also Carnalex is just gonna like, we're gonna be so bottom of the barrel, it's not even gonna be funny. But yeah, like I said, hopefully these changes get changed before 10.1, and hope y'all enjoyed seeing these, and I'll see y'all next time.